Everything that we did was subsumed and taken over. And now the second wave that comes in to completely undermine our Aboriginal rule and to take us over again, to put up a whole new master, is on the way. And so if we don't band together and truly understand not only our Moorish heritage, but our Aboriginal heritage that goes back and fuses with the Moorish heritage, then we're doomed. We're back under a whole new form of slavery. And there was always a tribal reference to the Moor, Moabites Moor, the Aboriginal Moor. These people were actually describing who were the first peoples, and that is the so-called black man. But as far as the Moors and the Aboriginal peoples are concerned, the Aboriginal peoples of America and the Aboriginal peoples of Africa, when the Continentals were together, there was a separation tens of thousands of millennia ago, and there were cities, there were city-states, there were whole nations that were here long before the European arrived, long before Washington crossed the Delaware and all that nonsense. We had an Aboriginal court, an Aboriginal society, even the Six Nation Confederacy of the Iroquois. All of these were the precursors to what the European came and took and imitated. Now, why do I say that? Well, I challenge brothers and sisters who doubt the Aboriginal peoples were here and that the Aboriginal peoples had already built a whole society, what we call the Moors today, that you can go to the, say, Utah or to Minnesota or to any of the states and go and look at their Capitol buildings and the dates that they were built. You'll see that some were built in 1789, some were built in 16 and some change. Now, if that's the case, that some of these humongous cathedral-like buildings were built in 1700s, then who was John Wayne running to the, again, chasing Indians and the whole nine yards? There were huge societies that were here before. This is not new. Now, everything that you see, this is the thing, because you've got to get past the cognitive dissonance that you have been taught for so long. The lies have been going on for so long, you really don't know what's true anymore. The whole history of this particular part of the world has been subsumed by the Catholic Church. It was the Pope who said that all history of the Western Hemisphere is no longer going to be spoken on. We will rewrite the history, and this took place right after Civil War, called the Reconstruction. So yes, what we call the Moors versus the Aboriginals, we are fusing together. We call it Moor, but you're going for your Aboriginal status and you're going for your tribal status. And I hate that word tribal because that's another Roman word that they use to identify their holdings that they got by conquest.
What do you think about with all the talk about reparations going on right now? What's your thoughts on that?
A corporation can't give reparations to Negroes, African Americans, niggers. We don't have or have claimed a nation or nation state. You cannot get reparation unless you are part of a nation or a recognized so-called tribe that can actually trace their blood to the flora and fauna of the land. So African Americans with Social Security numbers and all the contracts that they have made with this beast government cannot get reparations. Why did the Japanese get reparations? Because they have a nation. Why did the Jews get reparation? Because they had a nation. And that nation can go before the world, I guess the collection of nations and appeal to the fact that they have been damaged. But an African American is a fiat creature created by the corporation. In fact, those two words were pushed upon you by Jesse Jackson and the rest of those boulets. So what we have to do today is to claim our Aboriginal status. Your blood is of the land. Prove that your blood is of the land. Go back, check the true history, not the twistery, but the true history of this land, and claim your heritage. That's the only reason that you are suffering at this time, because you are taking on the part of I guess, a ledger slave. You are nothing more than an entry into a ledger. You are nothing more than a bond. You are nothing more than energy that serves the fiat state. Until you withdraw from that state of being, quote unquote, and reclaim your heritage, then you are never going to get reparations. I don't care how much they stomp and cry. And if they do get reparations, quote unquote, it means that they cut a deal with the devil.